by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello everyone, my name is Mark, aka Derringer. Today is Sunday, September 8th, and you are listening to episode 225 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. Speaking of that Support the Show tab, don't forget that you can pop on over there, because if you like what you hear each week and want to help me with my server costs and things like that, that's the place to go. You can make a straight-up donation via PayPal. You can also purchase a t-shirt from my Spreadshirt store. You could even become a Patreon patron and get the show earlier than everybody else out there. I usually do record the show the day before, obviously on Sundays, and once it's done, it's up on Patreon immediately. You can also go to Patreon just to even listen to the show if you want to do that, because I do put a delay on the release of the shows there so that anybody who's a patron gets immediate access, but then usually by Wednesday, I open it up for anybody else just browsing Patreon to listen to the show there. If you're curious about seeing what their web player sounds like compared to the one that's on my site, or if you're just downloading it via iTunes or whatever, you can see how it sounds there. But again, if you like what you hear each week and want to support me, that's how you do it. Hit the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So what have I been up to this week? Well, as funny as it is, I've been swimming in my pool a lot. We had a pool heater installed. I know, so bougie. This is something my wife has been wanting for a long time. So in our pool, we now have a pool heater. The pool is 85 degrees. It is 60 degrees here in Massachusetts today. So it's pumping away, trying to keep that temperature as high as possible. So I can get my wife in the pool a lot more than she is currently, especially during September. We'll see how long we can keep that open, though. It'll be an awesome addition next year, I'm certainly sure. Other than that, I'm not going to lie, I've been playing a lot of classic WoW. I've glommed on with a bunch of friends on a server, and I've been playing a troll hunter. When I played original classic, I played a dwarf hunter, so I really didn't experience the horde side of anything in classic WoW. So I am giving the horde side a go this time around in classic WoW. I've played a little bit of Planetside 2. I played a little bit of Planetside Arena, which I'll talk about sometime during this show. But again, most of my time has been playing WoW, even though Saturday it's been DDoS attacks and I haven't had a chance to log in today into classic WoW. But I do promise that even though I'm taking a small break from Planetside at the end of this week, I'll be back in it. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. And with that, let's talk about what's in store for this week's show. First, I do have some information about the Planetside Arena beta, which I just mentioned. Then after that, I'm going to talk about the first look video that the Planetside Arena devs released on September 5th, and talk a little bit about the video and what the current reaction to it has been from the player base of Planetside 2 and other games. After that, I want to talk about a new Planetside 2 bot that you might want to check out. And then I'm going to finish this week with some listener email. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. So like I said, first up this week, I am once again in the Planetside Arena beta. I got access to the original one way back earlier in the year, and I did a couple play tests when they were running that, and then they stopped. You know, obviously, everybody's aware that they delayed Planetside Arena. But now that it's about to come out again, I mean, if you're talking today, it's 11 days away from today, 10 days away from when most people are listening to this week's show. So, I mean, honestly, Planetside Arena, the early access for PC players is freaking right around the corner. So if this is a game you're getting excited for or are excited for, I mean, it's coming pretty damn fast. I hope everybody did like they suggested last week and went on to Steam and added Planetside Arena to your wish list so you'd know when it's actually out. Because on their Steam page right now, it's still listed. There's no information on when you can actually purchase it. So I'm basing it at this point that most likely when it goes live on the 19th, early access, that might be the time that you can actually purchase it. Because again, it's not even out for purchase right now on Steam. But that being said, like I said, I am actually in the beta right now. I did play in the most recent playtest. I was only in there for a short amount of time. But I do want to remind everybody that as with all the prior playtests that I had access to, they do still say that this is an exclusive invitation to me and that my non-disclosure agreement still does apply. And that means that I can share that I'm playtesting it, but as usual, I cannot publicly discuss any details of the game that they haven't shared either on their website or on any social channels. So that really means, I mean, as obviously as it is, I can't share screenshots, I can't share videos, I can't live stream any of the playtests to anyone outside of the server or etc. So again, I can say that I am in the beta. I did play the most recent round of playtesting, and that's about all that I can say regarding that. One thing, though, regarding the beta, if you are a longtime listener of the Instant Action podcast, I can say that they are looking for more people to get into the beta. So if you're a longtime listener and you just heard me say that and you're like, damn, I wish I could participate in the beta for Planetside Arena, shoot me a message. Email me, hit me up on direct message on Twitter or something. Just remember, it's got to be on PC. Sorry, PS4 folks, you guys aren't going to be able to do this playtest. But any listeners on PC, if you're a longtime listener to the show, looking to get in on the beta, shoot me something, and I'll hook you up with the contact about how to get into the beta itself. I don't want to flood this person by just throwing out their contact information. But if anybody is curious, legitimately curious about getting in on the beta and playing Planetside Arena, let me know, and I will try to put you in touch with somebody as best I can. I can't guarantee, obviously, that everybody who reaches out will be able to get into it, but if you're curious about it and you're not sure how to do it, shoot me a message and I'll see if I can help you out. So again, that's basically it about the beta. My lips are kind of sealed as to gameplay elements, stuff like that. But the good news is the devs did release a video last week as well, and I'm going to talk about that next. And that drives us right into the second topic this week. This is the first look Planetside Arena gameplay video that they actually put up on YouTube. And it is literally 9 minutes, give or take, 9 minutes and 3 seconds of Planetside Arena gameplay. One thing to note, there were only a total of 35 players taking part in this videoed playtest. It seems like it was mostly a lot of the devs or all devs that were taking part in this. And you can actually see your first look at Planetside Arena if you had not been able to partake in the previous beta or seen any screenshots or anything like that from the last time around. What we can see from looking at this is that they're playing the 12-man squad mode. They've also, you can see that you've got XP boosts active within the game. You can see them opening crates. You can see them grabbing guns. You can see them getting upgrades. You can see them earning nanites, which they don't really show what you can use the nanites for. I'm hoping they release some of that information in some of their videos in the future. There's a lot of vehicle use in this gameplay. They're driving in harassers. They're driving on flashes. You can see people driving the Tempest vehicle, and there are also basically Vanguard tanks within this gameplay video as well. One thing that you'll notice right off the bat if you're watching it is that everything occurs in third-person view. If you're not familiar with what third-person view means, it's basically a over-the-shoulder view of your character. So if you're just looking at your screen, you'll see your character, and you are actually looking over the right shoulder of your character. So your character's not centered on your screen. Your crosshairs are, but your character is just slightly to the left of the crosshairs itself. It's third-person view. Most of you should understand what the third-person view is. Andy Sites did state on Twitter that there is a toggle between first and third-person view, but in all honesty, why would you use first-person view within Planetside Arena? And I've seen quite a few people talking about this as well. Playing a game in first person versus people playing it in third person really puts you at a disadvantage, especially when you're able to peek corners and stuff like that. You can see much more of your field of view if you're in third person as compared to first person. I don't like the third person view. It's just me. I played, I guess I can't say what I played. When I play in the future, I would prefer to play in first person view other than third person view. But if there are not going to be first person view only servers, then I would be forced to play third-person view, which I don't like. So I'm hoping, and this is a lot of the feedback that people are giving the devs as well. You can clearly see the bias against third-person. The majority of people talking about it prefer first-person view on this, yet will be forced to play in a third-person view because they would be at a disadvantage if they were playing in first person. Now, some of the other stuff you see in this video itself, very few close range or close quarters type of combat. They showcase a lot of vehicle combat in this video, a lot of vehicle versus vehicle combat, which I like, even though in Planetside 2, I play a lot of infantry versus infantry and not so much vehicle versus vehicle. But they are showcasing a lot of vehicle versus vehicle combat. So I'm a little worried that it's going to take away from some of the game if there's a lot of focus on vehicles. But I'm hoping that they're also considering doing infantry-only servers or infantry-only type matches that will do away with vehicles. But that's just my opinion on that one as well. I don't know if that will ever come to fruition. Now, something else we get to see a lot in this video is actual drop pods. And drop pods work really similarly to how they do in Apex, where there's a drop pod out there in the middle of nowhere, and you open it up, and there's some items inside. We get to see in the video itself a drop pod drop right in the middle. They open it up, and there's a whole bunch of orange-type weapons in there. So as we can see, they're using a lot of the same classifications as other battle royales do. You know, you've got your green, your blue, your purple, and then your orange weapons, and that's telling you what's better than the other. So they're using that standard type of battle royale classification of weapons. Now, the next thing that we see in this video is, like I said, there's not a lot of close quarters combat at all. there's a lot of getting shelled from a distance. There's a lot of shooting people at a distance. There's a sniper doing some damage out there. But one thing that I really like about Planetside 2 is that you can have a lot of indoors close quarters combat, and there's a lot of interesting things that happen with that. Whereas in a game like this, it's mostly long range combat. At least from the video that they're showing off, it's mostly long range combat. Another thing that they're showing off is that, like, in one portion they start shelling the top of a mountain, and I thought that a lot of, and I could have been mistaken, that they were going to make portions of Planetside Arena fully destructible, but it doesn't look like that's the case in the videos that they're showing, so I don't know if they've gone back on that. And then one of the final new things that they show off is orbital strikes are in Planetside Arena, and a lot of them are going off in this video that they showed. And I don't know if it's just because people have unlocked it and they're able to use it and they've played long enough that they have a orbital strike, but there seem to be quite a few orbital strikes going off. And I've always said that orbital strikes are, a huge part of the original Planetside, and I'm happy to see that they would be coming to Planetside Arena as well, but I just hope they're not too powerful. So that's the Planetside Arena video in a nutshell. I mean, if a lot of you or most of you have not participated in the beta, you're not beta participants, this is really your first look at Planetside Arena, and you can see they changed the original screenshots and stuff that they show. It's now more a cartoony, almost a Borderlands-esque type of cartooniness to it, which I don't mind. I mean, I like Borderlands. I enjoy the Borderlands artwork. I just didn't expect to see something like that in a Planetside type of game. It doesn't mean it's terrible. I mean, I'd like to see them put out more videos regarding it. So again, that's the entire video basically in a nutshell. I've basically almost talked for about 9 minutes about the entire thing. But again, I'm glad that they're at least putting stuff out there. So now let's talk about some of the other feedback that they've received from it. Now, number one, and this is kind of surprising, but maybe I shouldn't say that I'm not surprised by this, because I am surprised by this. But the YouTube video that they put up has almost 11,000 views on it as of this recording. So a lot of people are watching this thing. And right now, it has more thumbs down than thumbs up. It has over 250 thumbs down, only about over 150 thumbs up. That means quite a lot of people do not like this video, do not like what the direction of the game is, etc. And I don't know what the devs are. I don't see a response from them regarding this. So, I hope they can release another video that might make people thumbs up it a lot more. But right now, if what they're putting out is not getting the community support behind it, I'm afraid that Planetside Arena could be a flop. Now, obviously, it's way too early to make that kind of prediction regarding a new game, but it's really not a good thing when you've got so many thumbs down about this video compared to thumbs up. And I would really, really hope that because I'm not going to lie, I want Planetside Arena to be successful. And the reason I want it to be successful is because any money that they potentially receive will also help keep Planetside 2 successful and afloat. I would hate to see Planetside Arena fail completely, and as a result, Planetside 2 fail along with it, because they put so many resources into a game that nobody wants to play or nobody enjoys playing. So I really hope that it does well, because it could be a good moneymaker to keep Planetside 2, the game that I prefer. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge battle royale player. I played my little bit of Apex Legends and didn't really like it. I've played a little bit of Fortnite. I don't really like that at all. But I'm much more inclined to play something with a Planetside theme than I am to play something that's not a Planetside themed game. All right, I think that I've beat this video into the ground and everything about it. If you haven't seen it yet, obviously I'm going to include a link to it in this week's show notes, and I'm curious to hear what everybody else's thoughts are on this. But with that, let's move on to topic number 3 and some Planetside 2 news this week, not Planetside Arena news. So like I said, not a lot of Planetside 2 news out there this week. It's been very quiet on the Planetside 2 front. There's no game updates. There's no hot fixes. There isn't even any talk about stuff coming to the PTS or anything like that. So there's not a lot of Planetside 2 news out there right now. So I guess it's a good thing that I could talk about a little bit of Planetside Arena today instead. But there was one thing about Planetside 2 this week that came out that I thought was interesting and that some of you might have missed and would be curious about adding to your arsenal of Planetside 2 related stuff. So a user named V330 on Reddit stated that he had created a PS2 Events Bot notification system in Telegram. Now, I don't personally use Telegram, but if people who do use Telegram are interested in something to tell you when events start within the game itself, this bot can do it for you. And it actually sounds pretty darn cool. So some of the bot features that he's built into it is that it can send a notification about the beginning of events on a selective server. You can have it send notifications only for selected events, like if you only want to do the aerial anomaly or the max alert, you can do that. And the biggest plus is that it's completely and totally free. So if you're someone who uses Telegram, and I should probably go check out Telegram because this might not be a bad idea. You can, again, set your server and have it send you whenever events kick off. I think it would be really cool for, trying to figure out when specific alerts are going on that you want to participate in. So again, I'll include a link to this in this week's show notes in case you're curious, or if you're someone who uses Telegram and wants to check this out, you certainly can. And props to V330 for putting this together. It looks like you're getting a lot of great and positive feedback regarding this from the community. But with that, let's wrap up this week's show and move on to housekeeping, because I do have a couple emails this week.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
So first up, I got an email from Louis, and he wrote, "Hey, Deringer, I don't think the kill cam is a fit for Planetside 2. It makes more sense for something like Call of Duty, King of the Hill, or Arena type game. It makes sense in games that always flow and you don't have to sit on one point like in Planetside 2. I guess it's good for new players to reduce the confusion of where they are getting shot from. It would be a good idea to give it to new players until a certain BR. I've heard suggestions that it shouldn't work for cloakers, guns with silencers, or there should be an implant if you don't want to be seen on kill cam. My suggestion would be that the person that died should be required to have the implant if they want to see the kill cam. Louis." All right, Louis, in response to that, I disagree with your last suggestion. I flat out disagree. I'm sorry. Forcing someone to have an implant in just to see who killed them sounds like the waste of an implant slot to me, and I don't know that that's the best suggestion for it. As for not the other suggestions that people have made, and I've heard the same ones, cloakers shouldn't have it done, guns with silencers shouldn't have it done, and I agree to a limited bit with those. And I'd like to see them kind of flesh that out into the game itself. Maybe a combination of up until BR15, you're always known you're shot from, and then after that, it would start filtering out cloakers or guns that have silencers on them. I don't know. I think the kill cam currently has more positives than negatives, though. And I think it's a good direction for the game, especially if it's still bringing in new players. So thank you for the email, Louis. I also got an email from Matt9, and he writes, "You shot me? I can't believe you shot me." He writes, "That's funny, and I didn't notice that was you at the time, or I would have definitely commented on it. I actually asked in TR Command Chat if anyone had a Derringer in their squads because I knew you planned to be around Briggs that night. Great game. I finally ran into Derringer in the wild. For the record, I was totally looking at my map when you killed me. Thanks again for the weekly dose of Planetside information, Matt9 Briggs." Yeah, Matt, I kind of figured you weren't even paying attention, even though I believe you shot at me. So you couldn't have been completely in the map screen, and I think you were probably just oblivious to what was going on. But that's okay. You did get killed, and I thought I recorded video of it because I remembered I killed Matt9. I should save this, and I thought I recorded it, but I can't find it anywhere. And it could be because I was playing on my Observer Cam account because I don't have enough slots left on my live account, and that might be why it didn't get saved. Maybe it's hidden on my hard drive somewhere, and I should just dig for a little bit deeper. But again, thanks for the email, Matt9. All right, that's going to be it for this week's show. As always, how can you get in touch with me or the show itself? First off, visit my website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. You can email me like Louie and Matt9 did at instantactionshow@gmail.com. You can call me and leave me a voicemail at 347-4VM-4PS2. Those digits to 347-486-4772. And finally, please follow the show on Twitter at InstActPodcast, INSTACT Podcast. But in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button. Derringer out.